Are you a prisoner to your emotions? Let's discuss this. Emotional intelligence, even better than that, emotional competency is one of the most profound things you can develop as a human being, and you do need to develop it. It doesn't happen by itself. So the skill sets you learn here, the whispering state, the learning state, correct presence practice, in these frameworks, in these courses, in the coaching, gives you mastery over your emotions, which are different to your feelings. I'm Jason Hopkinson at learnwhispering.com. So let's discuss emotional intelligence. What is that? It's like your IQ, your intellectual quotient, intellectual intelligence, but the emotional variety in terms of how you function when emotions come up. So let's define feelings and emotions. Feelings are your natural states of being. Joy, peace, happiness, love, contentment, peacefulness, equanimity, and all those sorts of words, right? These are the natural states of being that you have that are actually always there in one form or another, regardless of what emotion, energy emotion, is running over the top. So how do you access your feelings and deal with your emotions, and what are they? Really, really critical, because once you master these, once you learn how to hold this, you can have these feelings happening at the same time, concurrently, i.e. they are running parallel, but your feelings will bathe your emotions so you can be functional at home, intense relationships, difficult situations, everything. And it does take, as I say here with the 4 overview ingredients, or the ingredients to success, is it takes your desire, what do you want, what you're doing about it, the structures of your presence practice, your whispering state, your learning state, plus all of those things that are in the 9-pillar framework. And then you'll start to get the evidence that you can actually be totally in the whispering, learning, or presence states while you're blowing your stack at someone, and that is a profound place, because it means you're empowered, and the anger and we'll talk about the messages shortly and what it all means. It means you can use those emotions and not get lost and be a slave to them. So you're not on that side of the jail cell, eh? That's what this is all about. And it does take time, about as quickly as it takes for you to master being, abiding, living permanently. As I say at Student Success Tutor, in the 10th law of success, mastery, which is you live there naturally in the whispering state, the state of presence, the learning state, because it's about you being in your neurology, activated, and working with Pillar 5, your unconscious mind, your inner child, that greater part of you that really is mentally at the place of a 5-year-old that takes everything personally. And that's why most humans slip into their emotions, get upset, become unresourceful, or worse, dysfunctional, if not erratic, and then very unpleasant things happen, eh? So how do you reverse that trend so you're here and you can deal with any situation? Super tough ones, super dangerous ones. Well, whatever's in this website points to it. That's the point. It's a meta skill. Your neurology and how to use that. Your consciousness, how to use that. So you're always here, always resourceful, always activated to the most possible in any given situation. So I'm going to cross across now to videos where I'm discussing your emotional intelligence whilst I'm hanging out with the Masters of Chaos. Let's talk about emotional intelligence, and how that relates to the birds and everything else as well, because these guys demonstrate emotional intelligence in a different way to us. So a key aspect with learning to whisper and learning to study and learning to develop yourself as an adult, be it, you know, professionally or spiritually or religiously, is being able to work with your emotions and be functional and be a quote-unquote good person, however that fits into your belief systems, your hobbies, and how you learn and perform at school. They're all the same things, because under the 9 pillar framework here and all of my websites is pillar 9 is common sense, and that's what I'm teaching you guys now. So emotional intelligence was a phrase coined by Daniel Goleman, and it's like your IQ, i.e. mental cognitive intelligence, just the emotional version. How good are you at working with your emotions, so you know you don't turn into a raving monster every time something doesn't go your way or whatever. So with emotional intelligence, it means you can be in a resourceful place, and I'll use the traffic light metaphors. Green for go, green for the learning state, the whispering state, or if you're into the adult stuff, presence, or religious stuff, the state of prayer, receptivity and resourcefulness. Yeah, you're looking very cute. So with your emotional intelligence, you can have things happen in your life, events, unpleasant events, as well as good ones, and you stay really, really functional, and you can hold those emotions, give the best outcomes, and then understand what an emotion is and why it's arising. That's I just got interrupted. A bird tried to have a go at my phone. So emotional intelligence. What is an emotion? Let's define that. But first I'm going to define what a feeling is. This is really important. A feeling is a natural state of being. Like you would have if you're on the most amazing holiday, sitting on a tropical beach with the people you love, and the weather's perfect, the sea's perfect, and the food is divine. And all those nice natural states: happiness, joy, love, peace, happiness, contentment. They're natural. And they are always there. Even when you're feeling terrible, you're sick, you're in pain, you're in trauma, they're just natural states of beingness. That's who you are. If you doubt me, what does a freshly born baby who's just had their food look like? All content, staring out there into the world, and they're just there and happy. Natural, at rest, when everything's good. So that's a feeling, and they are always there. Just are you aware of them at the same time as when other things arise? Because for most humans, it's not. That's who you are unconsciously. Heart brain, the 5-year-old inner child that is the vast bulk of you, your unconscious mind. Pillar 5. That's why I call these birds childish names. I perhaps at times behave in a very childish manner, and I like to have fun and do sneaky things like grab the parrots and things like that on the odd occasion. Because it's about being childlike, innocence. So they're the natural states of beingness. And emotion, emotion, energy in motion. Generally it starts somewhere in your tummy, you know, your emotional center, your emotional brain, solar plexus, your identity center. It's just like It's personal, it's about you. So there's all sorts of different sorts of emotions. There are main classifications, you know, anger, the anger family, frustration, being cheesed off. There's a long list of them, and I can never remember them all. There's the wetter emotions, the sadness family, grief. No, we don't do biting here, buddy. It's mayhem. Too many birds. Hello, chubbies. Sadness, grief. They're the wetter emotions. Ow! And the variations thereof. Then there's the fear family. Fear, anxiety, which is future-paced fear because you're expecting a bad outcome. Terror, obviously, extreme fear. Guilt is where you feel like you've violated your natural I'm a good person boundaries, that you've done something wrong, or somebody outside of you's told you you've done something wrong, be it legal, moral or otherwise. It's tricky stuff. And Pillar 5, the unconscious mind. One of the prime directives of that, if you go see the prime directive material there and studentsuccesstutor.com, you are naturally born a moral being. It's just trauma and learning bad habits from people that do bad things that gets you into behaviour patterns that are not, you know, what anybody would call a good person. Hello? Fear, anger, anxiety, guilt, sadness, grief, regret. That's an emotion as well. That might be a mixture of emotions. What is regret? It's sort of like reversed guilt, really, isn't it? Something that you wish you had done, but now you're wishing you had done it. You regret not making the most of something. So when you master the whispering state and the learning state, you can make the most of any situation, just like I am now. It's a weekend, the birds are all gone crazy because we're about to have storms, and we've had terrible weather and they're all hungry, so they're on bad behaviour. Hey darlings. So that's emotions, and humans don't like them, and they generally get sucked into them and then act out and do bad things that they later regret. So when you develop your emotional intelligence, you can be aware of what they are and then use the emotion for its designed purpose. This is critical, and not many people talk about this. Your emotions are only one thing: a messenger from your unconscious mind, the greater part of you, your inner 5-year-old, your heart brain, that says, hey, here's the message, get the message please, resolve this situation so we can move forward and go back to being happy, joyful, in love, peaceful, with myself and everybody around me. That's what an emotion says. That's why a baby cries, eh? Because it's trying to tell mum and dad there's something that needs addressing here, and because a baby can't talk, then it just cries, and it's up to the parent to read the signs. Oh, baby wants feeding, baby wants changing, baby wants a chocolate bar and not a carrot. You know, all those sorts of things. So your emotions, which most humans are run by because they don't have very high EQ, emotional intelligence at all, is merely them not reading the message. Get the message, the issue resolves. Stuff like trauma, and that's a bit more deeper, but again, it's the same message, and the trauma is lodged in the body and the cells and the memory and the brain and various places. So, you know, those bad habits tend to stick. So people trigger into it and they can't get out of those behaviour patterns, and you know, you feel terrible. However, when you master your whispering state, your learning state, your state of presence, your state of prayer, you can move through these things a lot faster. So they're resolved, And then when you've got the message, your unconscious mind turns that into wisdom. Wisdom. And therefore you're not trapped by that stuff anymore. And that's, why certain people like, for instance, Jacinda Ardern, Barack Obama, the Dalai Lama, any person that you highly admire that is really good with people in tough situations when they keep their cool. And they operate from law zero, self-honesty, self-responsibility, will model that with their emotions, and they will deal with the situation for the betterment of everybody. Planet we, not planet me. So EQ, yeah, master skill for life, makes you a great person in the family, makes you great with your friends, makes you a great team member, makes life a lot more enjoyable. So emotional intelligence is a master skill, and it's an outcome of learning how to be in the correct state awareness, the learning state, the whispering state, and nature feels it. These animals know they can trust me, they can feel me, I can feel them. And in the Whispering 101, Learn Whispering 101 course, we get into the advanced whispering states that I talk about, like, I might sometimes label it the Yoda state, where you can do advanced things with the birds. They follow your instructions. Hello, you looking all keen? Are you friendly? You are friendly. You're going to come across? You've got my jumper. Can I have my jumper back? Who's this? Who's this? Is that you, Raspberry? So, when you learn to hold the learning state, the whispering state, the animals feel safe. Like, this is a totally wild bird. Is that you, Patience? Is that you? And he knows to be gentle with me. So as you master your study skills, as we work through the tutoring, or you're working your way through the Whispering 101 course, and you practice entering the whispering state. So the birds, there's so many birds here, it's so chaotic. I'm actually demonstrating, giving you the evidence that you can function in a high chaos environment. Oh God, there's more birds crawling up my tripod again. That means you can be resourceful when things are chaotic, painful, dangerous, life-threatening. You can even learn to regulate your body's shock process so you don't go into physical shock symptoms, and you can function to keep you and those around you safe. And we know what happens in the news. So there's videos here about me being hit by a car, taken 20 metres, dumped on the road, I couldn't breathe. And I instantly went into the learning state, the whispering state, and assessed my body, got my breath back, and then did a full scene video with full coherence while I was bleeding. Yeah, only 5 months of acute pain and 6 months with the osteopath. And I went to work that day and did a full day's work. And it was the next day I went to see the doctor because I couldn't move, I was in so much pain. So that's the level of mastery you can get with all of this stuff. It's really worth it. And so when unpleasant things happen, be it with friends, family, events, or you're just having an emotional cycle, because life, life changes. COVID did all sorts of stuff, didn't it? With all those lockdowns. It means you can come back to this resourceful place, come back and feel those good emotions, peace, happiness, joy, and it makes life good. So emotional intelligence is one of those key things that comes out of this process. That's why there's coaching with the courses, or if we're in the tutoring and I'm helping it with the academic life coaching, this is a side outcome, unless you want to focus on it. It's worth the effort, but it's a matter of learning to enter what I call here the whispering state, the learning state, the state of presence correctly, because it's very easy to do it wrong, and you've got to want to do it, eh? But when you start seeing the benefits, yeah, it's great. It's the key to stuff like photographic memory. That's how I got into this. So as I sit here looking at you guys, the joy that's in me is huge. I mean, it's consuming all these birds. It's just, I'm a big bubble of joy, hanging out with my wild buddies. You gonna come across? You coming up? You gonna come across? You gonna come across? Come on. Who's coming across? That was the bird I just kissed. Hello? Who's this? Who's this? Is that Patience? Oh, you got sharp feet, mate. Competition? Who's this? Hey? Oh, this might be Patience. No? Emotional intelligence gives you the flexibility to behave how you want. It's one of those evidence-based outcomes of learning to do this correctly. In the 9-pillar framework, that's pillar 3, rules of evidence. Hello, who are you? I don't know you. Obviously fairly friendly. So, when you're developing your emotional intelligence, it's really good if you talk to yourself like it is your favourite 5-year-old best friend, brother, sister that you love to bits, or like you would your pet, or like I do these gorgeous, crazy chaos masters. Hey, who's this? You got bossed off. So that's one of the great things about this. This is what you'll learn if you want to, if you put in the effort and the practice. And I'll teach you how to develop all that as we work through with the coaching, if you do the coaching. Hey birdies, it's all very crazy, lots of wind, eh? Yeah. How are you? You hanging on there, buddy? You worked it out, you got to come around. Hey, who's this? Hey, hello. 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 You gonna let me kiss you? Animals are law 0 devices. What is law 0? Self-honesty times self-responsibility. They will not allow you to do anything they don't like. Oh. Which is why, you know, when something happens, they'll just instantly bolt off. They'll squawk, they'll bite, they'll kick. But these guys don't do this with me, because that's what the power of the whispering state, the learning state is. And they know they can trust that. And in the advanced whispering state, the Yoda state, you know, you literally merge with them like Yoda does. I've got countless videos where I think something and they instantly do it. I can ask them to do stuff and they'll do it. I've got lots of videos of that. It's pretty special. It takes time. You have to obviously, as we cover in the Learn Whispering 101 course, learn about your species and all the different things that trigger them and all the rest in a way that's safe for you and safe for them, so everybody's here in 500 years time, eh? Planet we, not planet me. The planet me people are the ones that create all the trouble, eh? as is happening in the news, as is always happening in the news. So learn to master your consciousness, your learning state, your whispering state, so you can be that natural good person that you are, and just live in a place of yummy, yummy joy joy. Like I'm experiencing right now. This is a side benefit of these abilities, to work with your consciousness, work with your neurology, so you're fully resourceful and in the learning state, the whispering state, or presence as I call it for the adults. Doesn't mean you won't stop feeling them, because that's what's required. As I said, they are a message from your unconscious mind that some sort of action or some sort of something or other, like with sadness or grief, it's about, you know, being okay and letting it out and letting it go. It's about you allowing those things and getting the messages and then taking the corrective action. So it doesn't need to hold them and then store them in the body as stress. It's a really profound progression, and it is ingredient 3, success factor 3. It is a measure of success. Because if you learn how to work with your emotions, then a lot of psychological conditions and things that are stuck can move, and you can progress forward and have much better relationships, which are the key to a good life, eh? See you in the next video. I'm Jason for learnwhispering.com. Make contact if you have any questions. Hello? You looking for that? Hey? Are you friendly? You are quite friendly. Ah, mayhem.